Hey,
Hello. Can you
how
hear
you
me?
doing? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Awesome. I can hear you perfect, bud.
Excellent.
I'm checking my angle. I haven't even tested this in so long.
Oh, I know. The first one, the first one I did, I was so pale and just washed out. So I was like, I got to put something black behind me, and then I gotta wear something. I don't know. That's gonna like, and also I got like slightly different bullshit lights.
You look fabulous.
Stop it.
I
You're so naughty. My goodness.
missed you, buddy.
Yeah, dude. Oh fuck, I've been
I
missing
gotta
everybody.
say, it's it's been too long. Is that too dark? That's too dark. Eh?
Yeah, that was, but it's good now.
All right, let me fit.
Ooh,
Hold on. There we go. All right.
little blue.
I have the light in my room. It's the spotlight I was actually used at comedy shows too. Like
Mm,
it's controlled by my phone, and I can set my room to different colors while I'm gaming and doing things. So it's a lot more fun, and makes it interesting. But yeah. Anyway,
I hear you. God damn. Oh, so how you been,
so
brother?
I you know what, man? It's been a journey, man, since this shutdown. I moved into my new place there December 21st, and that's where I am now, which is absolutely amazing and incredible. But I was in the same kind of room I rent. I was in the same room that I rented when I first moved here in 2019. It's just a small room in a house full of other people that and it was hell, man. For 2 years, I pretty much was there. As in, like, it just I got used to just and not things not being clean and me being just not using things, the kitchen, the other item, just not living, dude. I was in a jail cell for a while, so was got into bad habits as far as like drinking all the time, just alone all the time. I do a show, come home and drink alone, and I needed to get out. I was eating bad because I wasn't using the kitchen and cooking and
Yeah.
doing things like that. So my buddy here, Andrew, who I grew up with in Toronto, he was my best bud, and we lived together in Toronto. And I moved. I lived when I lived with him. Then he's a personal trainer, health freak guy, and he really helped me out, and I'm excited to do that again. But we do a lot of work together as far as like now we're writing together as skits and doing things like that, and filming now in our new apartment, and so it's
Cool.
been a huge positive. And I haven't. The last time I drank January 7th,
Oh,
I
you
believe.
marked it on the calendar?
I marked it on the calendar, bud. And that's a long time for me. Like that's over 2 weeks, and I was drinking every day, dude. Like a lot. Yeah.
Wow. See, this is the funny thing. I'm I've never really been very much of a drinker, like a social drinker. That's about it. So the only time I would drink is when I'm, with other people and they're drinking and hanging out. So I hadn't even all the way through Christmas. Like we went over to my daughter and her husband. Their family are just up the street from us, and we take care of their kids, right? So I mean, like if you take care of someone's toddler, it's the same as licking every surface in their house,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we were like, fuck it, we'll have Christmas together. And then we also had, we did the sneaky thing, right? They
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
in,
Oh God. Oh no.
they picked us up and then backed into the garage, closed the door, and then we got out of the car, right?
It's so wild, dude.
And
It's
then
Prohibition Christmas, dude.
it totally was. And then we did the same thing on New Year's, and neither of those days did I drink hardly at all. Like we brought a bunch of booze, especially New Year's. We were just
Of
like,
course. Of course.
I mean, you gotta have something, right? And the wife was
Yeah.
drinking, and my kids were drinking, and my son-in-law and everybody. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like drinking at all. And then last week, I did the first episode of this with a buddy of mine that I hadn't seen. I worked with in animation for, I mean, we worked together for close to a year and a bit just on one project. And then I hadn't seen him for about a year. And I was like, I really missed talking to the dude.
Yeah.
And I fucking went through like this. This is my bottle of Buffalo Trace. Like it's gone now. And that was like the first time last Saturday night. It was like the first time in probably 6 months that I was buzzed in any way, and be a little fucking shit faced, just ever so gently. Like I got up, I got done. We went 2 hours. Like I said, dude, give me an hour. We'll chat,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And all of a sudden, they look at the phone. He looks at his phone. We're like, holy shit, we've been going 2 hours.
These
Like,
things actually go very fast. I find for me too, because I'm quite a talker. Like I can ramble right in my like with stories and stories, and before you know it, every podcast I'm on, they pretty much have to cut me off at the end. Give me 1 second. I just got to plug something in.
sure.
Should have had this charged. So angry at it.
Is that a headset?
No, it's my weed vape.
Oh,
Can't drink, so
that's the most.
I was like, I'll smoke some weed while I'm talking to you. I actually because it's been hard, man. I guess I became an alcoholic over time, but it's been hard, man. I like the evenings doing things like watching the games, um, gaming with my buddies in Ontario, like because I grew up in Toronto, so all my buddies are there, and we still game together. That's how I keep in contact, and we love to drink together while we're gaming. And
Yeah.
so doing all that still, but without the drinks, it's not easy, man.
I know.
So I've been taking some shrooms and to help out. Not like a huge amount to like trip or anything, but enough to like, shrooms are actually really good for you mentally, like, and help you get detox from things and will help you through things mentally if you only microdose, right? Like you
Right.
got those type of things, not to trip balls, and those are cool and shit
This
too.
is fucking hilarious because I was just having a conversation with my neighbor, my buddy, and my neighbor across the street. We kind of become like friendly, and we went to the pub last night and watch the UFC.
Yeah,
And shrooms came up, and he's talking about doing tiny bits, little microdoses, and
point zero threes I type, like something like that, enough to you either throw it in your shake or something, like you just throw it in a shake, or you just eat it. I'm actually gonna take a dose now while I'm on with you because I figured why not? That'd be fun. You're drinking. I'm gonna, but I don't have them in my shake. I'm
just check it
just gonna
back.
down them. But yeah, actually, it's really beneficial, man. Like there's been a lot of studies on them, and like
Yeah.
because I used to take a lot of medication for like depression and anxiety and stuff, and microdosing shrooms has taken me off of those things.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never. It's just funny because I've never taken shrooms. I've never done acid. I've never done anything like weed.
Wow, eh?
Yeah, weed. I came into weed like what? I was 30
Oh
before I
shit.
ever smoked any weed, and then even then, even now I don't have the weed game down. Like the only time that I can consistently have a couple of hits of my vape, without worrying about myself is
Yeah,
when I go to bed. If I'm feeling like I feel my body's aching or something, or if
right, right.
but if I do it during the day, I always I'm that fucking idiot. I still equate it to like a cigarette. You have a
Right.
cigarette, you take a puff and you go like immediately. You're like, whoa, yeah. And weed isn't that. Weed is the slow burn,
Right.
and I
And
always
also,
fuck up.
what they figured out this thing as in like, oh no, this certain type is for day use, and this certain type is for at night.
Yeah.
So I'm the same way, dude. Like even when I do stand up, I don't smoke on the days before stand up. I won't. I That day is like just pure getting your right mind state. Um, and I'm still such a noob at comedy as far as the stand up goes. Like I've only been doing it since 2019 as well, um, when I moved out here. So I'm really worried about being inebriated on stage, like how that would make me feel and stuff. So yeah, I know I don't even drinking. I not until last year, near just before the shutdown again, did I feel comfortable having a beer or two and maybe hitting my vape once, like just before stage or something, just to put me in a little bit of a zone. But I'd like to have my mind clear
Clear, yeah.
right now. Like I'm so new to comedy. I'm still learning. I'm not going up there to just do whatever. I try to tape as many sets as I can. I'm still trying to learn. I'm still, so I treat it with respect at least. But now I'm not drinking at all. So we'll see how that goes. Like when I get back out in public, that might be hard too, because I'm such a personable person. I love being around people, and I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
having a drink with peeps and things like that. So, but I'm trying, man. I'm trying, dude.
Yeah, no, it's not easy, this whole thing. But it's weird too, because I think I probably did, like during the shutdown last year, I think I did more sets, like actual sets, booked things and stuff than I had done in the previous 3 years.
I had a good year of comedy. Like I had fun, even though with this
Yeah.
pandemic and everything, comedy I think did well.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was really weird. I don't know. I don't know
Well,
if
it just Nina and myself alone. We noticed there was a bit of a hole in the scene, like, and so we were just like, let's do shows. If they're gonna let us do shows, let's do shows. And we wanted to give people a different place to go to, because everybody had just been like, oh, you either go to this place or you go to this place,
yeah.
and we just didn't want that. And we just like, let's bang out shows. So we got a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday show, and then boom, shut down again. But hey, we'll be back.
Yeah. When they've extended it now again to like February something?
I think first week of February or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
And end of day February 2nd or something. I love that fucking, you got to put that in. Well, we have to type end of day because you're not allowed to do anything until the end of that day. It's like, fuck off
It's
already.
like the day the order came down. It was a Thursday, and we were doing the Heritage show.
Right.
The last one, the last pandemic shutdown, and people were even freaking out that day. Is there a show tonight? I'm like, yes. Like they can't. They're like, it doesn't go into effect until the Monday or something, but it was a Thursday. They announced something. So, and then I was supposed to do my first ever headline set at House of Comedy on that Tuesday, on the 25th,
Yeah.
that I had been working towards, and I even did a headline at King's, like to prep for it. And we shut down the Monday, and Tuesday was that show, and we just had to can everything.
Yeah.
All, it sucks for everybody. Everybody had to do a lot, but yeah, it was a horrible time, man.
Yeah. Fuck. Well, now what is this? There's some physicians in Quebec have found some drug that they're like, oh, this actually really works really well for treating. I can't remember what it's called. Something colocine, blah, 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 I don't know. But I've seen a couple of news articles, and they're saying it's really good for treating it if you get sick with the COVID. Um, and then the vaccine is slowly rolling out. So I don't know.
Because like, what's the deal with that? I like see. My thing is, I'm really learning to stay away from, like, I don't keep up with the news anymore. I can't feed into it anymore.
Yeah.
Can't I can't I just can't be in that world anymore, and I don't want to be. So as far as like keeping with the updates, arguing with people online about this and that, and wishing, like, it's just, it is what it is. When things open up again, they'll open up. I'll see how the world is, but I'm not keeping up with numbers. I'm not keeping up with
Yeah.
how things are looking. I'm not keeping up with, is the vaccine actually here and available? I don't
Yeah.
know.
My wife's on the numbers every day,
Yeah,
and it's a little bit like on the one hand, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, honey, do what you will, right?
sure, sure.
And she's not like one of these extremists on either side, right? She's like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
just keeping up with it. She's just kind of watching it. She watches the news. I'm like, okay,
But like, this is, everybody's situation is different. You guys have a family you're with people, you do things, you have to be around certain events maybe and things like that. Just
true.
a bachelor dude, man. I don't have kids or here to worry about. I don't have grandkids to worry about here. And like, I understand why some people keep up on it and want to know.
Yep.
But for me, it's like, when things open up again, they open. I'm kind of like a more of this is just bullshit kind of thing, that like, as in far as like shutting everything down,
Yeah,
uh,
I'm on the same
stopping the
page.
economy because of this is ridiculous. I think, like, it's just nuts, man. Like, I said this in the first shutdown, and I took a lot of flack from my friends, but they're all like, well, what about my grandma, or what about this person? I'm like, well, then that person should quarantine and you should take care of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if your grandma is that, like, if there's an issue like that, then you work on that with her personally. Keep her somewhere, deliver things to her, but have them sanitize or stay somewhere for 24 hours before she touches them. Like, just that's your duty.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't
No.
like to shut all that down for everybody else. It's just too much, man. That's what I didn't agree with.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree completely. It's like I feel like if they had just instituted like, okay, everyone wears masks in stores,
Mhm,
limit
mhm.
capacities, that's
Sure,
fine, but let everything be open.
sure.
If they had done that from the beginning, there wouldn't have been so much of a pushback.
Well, the damage and the deaths and everything caused by the lockdown is actually worse. And I know
Yeah.
I'm repeating
Overdoses, suicides. Yeah.
things like that. And also, like, think about like, you know how many people and how many, like, you're worried about the kids and things like that. You know how many third world country people can't get the supplies because of the lockdown, and how many will die from that, like as far as starvation, poverty, things like that. Like, the
Yeah.
world is going to suffer huge from these lockdowns.
Well,
There's more ramifications from this.
and all the small businesses are dying,
That too, like, it
and
just doesn't make sense to me, man.
all the big corporations are fine,
And like, that's when
you
you make
know.
it political, right? Like, now you're making it political, and like that's what they've done, and now
Yeah. It's very annoying.
it is, man.
Anyway, let's not talk about
But
that. It's
100,
depressing.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you.
Let's talk about Conor McGregor getting his ass handed to
Oh
him.
shit, dude. So when I'm watching that fight, though, like, something about Connor, like, he looks good, right? Like, he always looks like he belongs. He always looks comfortable to me.
Yeah.
But then you think about it, and it's like, the dude's fought once a year for the last 3 4 years. Like, like, he's
Yeah.
just like, he fought once, and then Khabib or something before Khabib he fought, and then it took a year, and then he fought Khabib or something
And then
because
it's
that
been
Khabib in
two
his fight.
years since Khabib.
Yeah, and that's right. And then he only fought once since then, last January, and then he
Yeah.
fights this January. I don't think you can stay as good as you are and as great as you are, and he is, and he's great. But these guys in this game, they fight it like, every few months. They're training every day.
Yeah.
Life isn't filled with boat trips, and a lot of it, and like selling whiskey. Connor's, his mind is just somewhere else, but he is amazing and great. But dude, congrats to Poirier, man. Like, that
Oh,
dude,
dude.
that was awesome, man.
But see, that's the thing, and I found that because I'm sitting in the bar, and there's two dudes sitting over to my right, right? That were like, the one guy was cool. I was fine with him. His buddy was like the wappa 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 wappa, big loud talking, fucking yeah, fucking da,
So
da, da.
annoying, dude.
And I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, dude, like Connor hasn't fought in 2 years,
That's right. That's right.
right? And Poirier has been on a tear for like the
Yeah,
last two
yeah.
years.
He deserves
He's
it, man.
he has fought every high level guy and
And that's what I mean. Like,
performed.
he's been active as well. Like,
Yeah. So
Connor, Connor
it's a
is, I retire. I'm not retired. Oh, now the money's right up.
yeah,
Or then he's fighting with Dana. I'll
yeah.
never fight in the UFC again. It's like a John Jones thing, man.
A little bit,
Like,
eh?
that's annoying, dude. Like, like, some of the greatest fighters are just fighting once every 2 years.
Yeah.
It's
You know
annoying.
what though? You know what would be cool? Like I like this idea. Like sometimes I like this idea of like super fights. You know how they did that bad motherfucker belt,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like cool fights like that. That's fine. That's cool. I like that because it's just like a competition between two guys that you've seen. You know that they're great. It's not part of the contention for
Right.
rankings and the
Yeah,
belts and stuff. Um, like when GSP came back to fight Bisping, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, I it's those I think those are the types of guys that should fight each other. The
And
guys who are
Khabib,
like,
Khabib says, like, he has talked so much about GSP and how much he wants to fight him. Like, even though he retired, Khabib has said, the only thing I would ever come back for is a Khabib fight. But I mean,
I
for a
for
GSP.
GSP fight, yeah.
Yeah.
I would fucking watch the shit out of that.
I would even travel to fucking Fight Island, Abu Dhabi. Here I come.
Oh,
Right?
that it would
Uh,
it would
yeah.
almost be worth it. Like it's
I agree. I agree. Like, a lot of people say, "Oh, GSP is like whatever older now," but GSP is always kept in shape and in fighting mode,
oh
kind of thing.
constantly.
But yeah, that's I guess that's more of like, that's your that's gonna bring in the money for Dana. That those type of things, like the Brock Lesnar fight, man.
Oh yeah, the Brock
I
Lesnar area didn't. Yeah, that didn't
your
do
eye
me.
roll. I'm a big huge wrestling fan, so that's why. And still to this day, dude, like I watch wrestling, like, and I mean like all of them, all the shows, like hours and hours, the Mondays, the Tuesdays, the different companies. I even watch New Japan wrestling, like Japan.
Oh
It's called
wow.
New Japan, but it's just the Japanese huge, the WWE in Japan. Um, yeah, and just because of that, like to me, when Brock goes to UFC and dominates, it's almost like wrestling fans have something to be proud of.
Yeah.
Uh, as in, like, yeah, see, our guys are still tough, they're still,
He
even
he
though, yeah,
he is an absolute fucking freak of nature.
he is right,
I
like,
mean,
yeah,
he had always been an absolute freak of
you
nature.
know,
But yeah, I don't
yeah.
know.
But they UFC should bring back the actual tournaments they had. 'Cause, like they would have tournaments where you fight more than once in a night, like type of
Yeah,
things, like the Hoist Gracies.
that's tough, dude. That is
I
so
know, I
tough.
know, but I mean, like, I I remember watching those UFCs. I would run to the video store and we'd rent them on all the old UFCs, like on the VHS and shit. So,
You should fuck me. This is like almost exactly like the conversation I was having last night with Matt.
oh shit,
Because he was talking about the same thing. He's like, yeah, we used to rent the UFC something.
yeah. I remember Hoist Gracie wrestling in a gi, like, and
Yeah,
like there was just so many weird, and the weight classes didn't fucking matter. You had a
yeah.
big fucking bar dude fighting on Hoist Gracie, like Tank Abbott.
Yeah, Tank
And
Abbott, no teeth, big fucking belly. Who was that fucking dude? There was that one dude who I think it was a black guy. He had one boxing glove on.
oh
Do you
no,
remember that guy? He was like in a white karate gi and one boxing glove, and that's
I,
how he
I
would fight.
I don't remember his name, but yeah, it's just like random things like that.
Just ridiculous. Just totally ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. Now they need 6 months in between fights if they get punched once.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the gloves are terrible. Those fucking UFC gloves are awful.
Well, you see there's a bare knuckle fighting thing. Have you
Oh,
watched any of that?
what's that called again?
It's called bare knuckle fighting or
Bare
something
knuckle
these
fighting.
days, something like that. But
Um,
straight up, the dudes. I think they're in California or something.
yeah, I saw something. I found like I think it might have been even been on YouTube for a second, and it's funny. I would have thought if you're bare knuckle fighting, grapple, grapple, ground and pound.
Right.
No, they just stand there and fucking fisticuffs, punch each other in the face.
Right, right.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
That'd be the last thing I do.
Oh,
Um,
totally. Like I clinch, knees,
yeah,
elbows, sure, rock and roll, all the stuff you used to. Don't fucking punch the guy in the forehead with your bare hand.
yeah. You
Like,
ever see there's one, I don't know if they're still going or they're still underground, but it's like a 6-on-6. Like
was that the Russian thing?
I think so. Yeah, they're just
Yeah,
lined up
yeah,
on the walls and you just go at each other. But
yeah,
eventually, like if you take two down on one team, then you just team up on the other
yeah.
team. And eventually there's like there could be 5-on-1 and you're just like, oh shit.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah, I've seen some of those. Those are nuts.
That's fucking nuts. Those Russians are crazy, bro.
Look, and they're like stomping on the guy while he's on the ground too. Like it's like, okay, well that's a little more than
I can't get into that stuff, but I'm just pointing out these extreme things I've definitely seen on YouTube as well. And I'm like, that's a thing. Holy shit. People
I went down a fucking rabbit hole one night. Oh, okay, let's be honest. It wasn't one night. It was the middle of a work day, and I was not motivated to work. So I went down this fucking rabbit hole watching because they have like medieval fights where guys are in like they have like blunt swords and blunt axes and blunt maces, and they're all in fucking armor,
oh shit.
and they're fighting, and they're just bang, smash, bang, and they're beating the fuck out of each other. That is the craziest thing.
That's fucking wild.
Oh, dude, it's so cool, but at the
We're
same
just
time,
we're just eventually going back to a coliseum. Like let's just build a coliseum
well,
and
that's the
fucking
thing, right? The only thing that's changed about us is the technology, and that's it.
right, right.
We're exactly the same with everything else. We still like the same shit.
We do, as long as it doesn't lead to death. Like we don't fight to the death anymore. Um,
I'm pretty sure some people do in some parts of the world.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, yeah. It's wild. But we
I
don't
don't
release tigers. Like we could release.
know.
throw a bear in there with Khabib. Like imagine like because he used to fight bears, man.
He's already, yeah, I saw that video. He's wrestling a bear. Jesus.
All of a sudden it's like Khabib, your next opponent. It's the same bear. He remembers you. This is
And,
the rematch from
and
30 years ago.
and we let his claws grow back.
Yeah, yeah.
He's gonna
He
maul
still
the
has
shit
the
out of
same
you.
scar on his face. The bear's missing some hair, like across his eye. Like you did this to me.
Now that is a scar that you could be proud of.
That's right. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a fucking like grizzly paw slash across your face or your
Oh,
chest or your back, whatever. Just
oh.
oh,
Yeah,
I
I'd be
saw.
proud.
Did you see that dude who got attacked by a fucking bear? And he like managed to get away, and then he was like live streaming on his phone. His ear is like hanging
Oh
off.
God, no, I didn't
He's
see
got
this.
like slices on his back. Was it a bear or
Oh,
was it a cougar now? I think it was a bear. I'm 99% sure it was a bear.
fucking
And
wild,
he's
man.
walking along, his hat's all torn up, his shirt's all torn up. He's like, I just got attacked by a bear. No, no, no. I'm trying to get back to my truck.
There's a
Oh,
bit there. Use that same video, but he's coming out of a club, and it's
yeah.
like a cougar. It's a cougar club. So it's just, oh my God, those cougars are fucking wild.
It's just old 50-year-old women with big fake claws, and they're like, "Come on, bitch,
He
give us
comes
some
busting out the
love."
door, puts a broom through the door so they can't get out.
Mm.
You just see cougar hands everywhere.
I had enough of that when I was bouncer, man. I had a way
Yeah.
of fuck
Oh, you
me.
did. Of course, you did bouncing. You seem like you
Oh,
would.
it was no like yeah. Everyone's in line. Come up. Okay, cool. Here's my ID. Because legally, to enter the bar, I need your ID. I don't
Right.
give a fuck what you look like. I need
Right.
your ID. And
Yeah.
this woman comes up, and she's 55 if she's a day. And she's wearing like a leather boost. She's like old school cougar, right? Like
That's
and like long in the tooth cougar, right?
that's a
Like,
liger. That's like
oh,
a.
dude.
It's,
She goes, "Oh, aren't these enough?" And she pushes her tits up into my face, and I swear to God, it was like she was pushing two saddlebags at me because they were so like she was like one of those chicks that did like the fake tan all the time or like
yeah,
the
yeah.
tanning beds. So it was just like leathery and gross and lots of like
Oh,
liver spots and stuff.
that's
And I'm
disgusting.
like,
That's
I need to see your ID, hon. I don't have my ID.
disgusting.
Bye. And she had on like the fake. This is the bar that I worked at one point turned into a cowboy bar.
Is that here in Vancouver?
Yeah, as the bourbon down
Oh, the
in
bourbon.
yeah, it was a cowboy bar for a little bit.
I performed there.
And did you?
Yeah, not as a cowboy, but as a comedian. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, what show? What was it? What was the show? Was it like
So it was Vancouver Comedy Uncensored,
oh, okay.
VCU. It was at the time Adrian Joseph, and this is when I just first moved here and I didn't know anybody.
Right.
And they asked if I wanted to come do a show, so it was I did that one a few weeks, and then Vancouver Comedy Uncensored ended up splitting up, and one became Comedy Ring, and the other one I think they kept Vancouver Comedy Uncensored. I'm not sure, but yeah, yeah. So I did maybe 3 or 4 shows there. There's a few videos up on my YouTube channel that have the bourbon sets in there.
Oh, I have to look that up again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was it's a weird place because it's such a long
Yeah,
like
it's
it's just
long and deep, and then it's really flat for where the stage is.
the stage is huge and stuff, but it's like you have people all the way to the side playing pool over here, or you have
Yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, no, that's awesome that you did bouncing there. That's
It's a pretty good venue for because when I first started there, I started there in like 2008. Because everything fucking fell apart financially, right? So I
yeah,
couldn't get a job. I finished the one contract that I had in animation, and then I couldn't get another job because there weren't any. And I had done a couple nights there as a favor to a friend because he was working there part time. And then I just said, "Do you have any shifts?" And they said, "Yeah, we can give you 5 nights a week." And I'm like, "Okay." And I
nice.
did that for almost 2 years straight, like just that, because I was a little bit lost at the time too. Like I didn't
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
and it was not, in truth, it was a very dark time for me. Um,
I don't mean to laugh at in
no,
that
no,
phrase. It's a dark time. It's the way you said
absolutely
it.
laugh at it because I mean, the whole time that I was only working there, I felt like a fucking failure, and like I didn't, but then finally that whole things shifted, and then the economy started coming back and animation kicked back in again, and I got back in, and then I was working in animation nonstop with like no breaks ever since, kind of thing, right?
Wow,
Um,
that's good. That's good. The bourbon was the bottom, and I can see that being the bourbon.
but the funny thing with that is I don't know, I think I had like I felt like I had to like make up for the shitty time. So
Yeah,
I was working in animation, but I was still working Friday and Saturday nights at the Bourbon.
gotcha,
And
gotcha.
I did that for 5 more years.
Wow. So you got to tell me. I know the type of neighborhood that that place is in. How much
You
crazy shit did you see at that place, or did you have to deal with?
know what? The craziest thing that happened, I wasn't there for,
Really?
which was, and it was not even a busy night. It was like a Thursday night or something. And this guy was sitting basically at the, they have that, there's the front, the one door and the other door, and then there's like
Yeah,
tables in between.
yeah.
There was a guy sitting by the window with a couple people. Some dude came in, basically leaned over that little wall, that half wall thing, stabbed him with a hunting knife.
Holy shit!
And my buddy is like working. He's like, what the holy shit? Fucking tackles the guy. They fucking run that guy down, call the ambulance, put pressure on the wound, all this shit, right?
Yeah.
That was probably the craziest thing that I've
Holy fuck!
there
Yeah.
was that, and then the one time that I saw a guy he was let's just say he was a bit inebriated. Not to the point where he's like gonna fucking pass out, fall on himself or anything,
Right,
but
right.
when you're a bit drunk and you're kind of a little stumbly.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was on his phone, right? He's on his phone, like, and he was outside, and he stepped off the curb and tripped off the curb, just as a bus was coming by.
Oh fuck, man.
So he basically caught the bus with his forehead. Now the bus wasn't flying by. There's a bus stop right there. So it had
Right.
just been stopped and it had just taken off. So it was going maybe 7 kilometers an hour, but he still took a fucking bus to the head. And like this part of his forehead just kind of went like this, like the skin just. And so we're like, oh Jesus, with the like get him down, and we're like keeping people away. That was always 99% the biggest problem is when something serious, quasi serious even like happened, was trying to keep the guy who's either being thrown out or we're trying to help, trying to keep his fucking friends away. Where's
Right.
my buddy? I'm like, what are you gonna do? You gonna put his head back together? Just give us some space. The ambulance is on its way.
Right.
Like you'll be
Yeah.
fine. But I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't a bad place. Yeah, on the whole. I mean, there was some weird shit, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. No, that's awesome, dude. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I have nothing against the place. I enjoyed the shows there. They were fun, and the I can't remember their names, but the owner and the bartender, they enjoyed, like, they loved it. Yeah, we had a good time.
yeah, it was a
I
cool.
haven't been back since, so I don't
No,
know
I
if I.
haven't been. I haven't been back there in ages.
Yeah.
But they were doing. I didn't even thought about them for like a couple of 3 years, and then when a couple of the girls at the studio were like, "Oh, we went and did some karaoke. They got karaoke night on Thursday nights." I'm like, "Oh yeah, where?" She's like, "At the Bourbon." I'm like, "Really? Doing karaoke at the Bourbon? That's interesting. Maybe I should swing by." But I remember swinging by once, and I was like, I didn't know any of the bouncers anymore,
Yeah.
and they're all like, "What do you want?" Like they're all fucking attituding me and shit, and I'm like, "Dude, okay, fucking, I've been checking people out here for
you
ages." Like,
you just push your boobs up and you're like, is
yeah,
this enough? Is this enough?
my furry nipples. Come
Then
here.
they're like, oh yes, sir, go ahead. And, oh, this bar has changed quite a
Yeah,
bit.
no kidding. It was funny when it was a country bar though, because they made us all wear like well, like shirts like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, sometimes. I mean, we had black shirts, whatever. There was a point where they were like, "Oh, we're gonna give you guys like collared shirts, and you're all gonna wear ties." And we all went, "Are you fucking stupid? Are these gonna be clip-on ties? Because I'm not putting a handle around my fucking neck, dummy. Get out of here." We had enough problems. Get the fuck out of here, right?
Yeah, no shit.
But they had a mechanical bull for a bit.
Oh, cool, man.
It was pretty funny. I only saw two girls pull their shirts off
Oh, okay.
when they're on the bull, and then they got like, I don't know why. I don't like. I wouldn't have thought there was like. I guess there's like some kind of bylaw or regulation that they can't be naked,
Really?
even partially or something. I don't know.
I rip my shirt off on mechanical bulls all the time.
Yeah, see, there's something. But it's because it's boobies, like lady
Oh,
boobies.
I got boobies.
Yeah, and they are fantastic. They're fabulous. But there's something about the ones that could properly function as man.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm not nursing anybody.
Yeah, no shit. Me neither. But yeah, no, that was fun.
So you're doing a podcast, eh?
I'm trying this thing out. I'm like, I did the last one, right? And it was like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And the wife's like, no one's gonna listen to that. No one's gonna listen. It's too long. You gotta make it shorter. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, okay, look, the 99% of the reason I'm doing this is so that I don't go insane.
Right, right, right.
Like
You got it.
I haven't talked to, and like there's nothing. I can't go out do comedy. I can't. There's no one I can talk to.
Yeah.
Like all,
This is what you do now. This is
yeah, like all the shit that I was joking about on stage. Like my wife and I need to see other people. All that shit, that is slowly becoming true because there's really no one else that we're seeing. You know what I mean? And even she's feeling it too. She's like, I fucking would love to go back to the office.
Buddy, I don't doubt it, man. It's that's your escapes, right? Especially when you live with somebody and you're married and you need that time away so you can enjoy the time together.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the way, man. The amount of divorces or relationships breaking apart during the pandemic must have been fucking high. Like I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing, but my hypothesis is that that's the.
Well, I know one couple that's broken up already. So
And they were together a long time before.
yeah, they were like kids and everything, right? So
Shit, eh?
now I don't know if they were having problems before the pandemic.
If
That's
they were either way, like the pandemic's gonna make it the end. Like
oh yeah, it's
it's
gonna
just not over the
exacerbate it.
top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, totally.
yeah.
But yeah, no,
It's the first shutdown in March. I didn't know what to do, man, for like a month. I was because right then like shows were just going great. I was just starting working with Nina and so like I was getting stage time all over the place. I'm finally getting the hang of it, and then bang, and then you shut down. I didn't write for like over a month. I didn't know what to do. I hadn't written one joke in over a month, and to me that was like that's crazy. I always try to write as much as I can, but I don't. My writing style is not like I don't set time. Oh, I have to write from 8 till 9 on this day.
yeah,
I just go about my day and I spend so much time alone because it's, without a significant other or kids, I get to be with my thoughts. And as soon as the thoughts come in, it's just you pull out the phone and you fucking add it to the file. I
yeah,
get back to it later and I work on it. And I'm like, but right away I know, ooh, that's a bit. Like I know it's going to come out to be a bit or something, right? Like, so, and if I don't jot it down, it's gone. It's fucking just the weed takes over. The thought is gone. So, but I hadn't done that for so long, and I didn't know what to do. I hadn't left the house, and that's when the drinking really got worse. And
mm,
but eventually, I did my first Zoom show because at first I was like, "Who wants to do Zoom? Like that's stupid for comedy. How can you hear anybody? I need an audience. This is weird." A month later, someone asked me to do a Zoom show, Brunella, and I love her. And I said, "All right, yeah, I'll do it." And it was not just comedy; like they had a musical act, they had something else, and I actually really enjoyed it. And it went, and when we finished, everything kind of went back to normal as far as like I started writing again. I started feeling better. It's just, I guess I just had to do something. I don't know, man. But without it, I couldn't do anything. Then I started working on comedy snacks and just doing that from home, zooming it. Then we eventually went to the Vanna Theater. But yeah, man, you have to be strong, I think, to get through those shutdowns. Like I'm sure it destroyed a lot of people, man. But one thing about it, as far as comedy and stand up goes, this kind of resets the table a bit.
yeah,
Like when we get back to doing shows, it's almost like everybody's starting again
yeah,
from
yeah.
from a certain level, and I'm okay with that for a bit. Like,
Well, yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying because there was a long while there where like I'd be doing your shows, I'd be doing She Who Shall Not Be Mentioned shows.
it honestly, in
um,
all retrospect, like I hold nothing against this woman. I'm over that shit. It was just I didn't want it to kind of turn into what it turned into, but also
yeah,
if I didn't say something, it was eating away at me what she had done. And it
Yeah.
had nothing to do with me trying to attack somebody or anything. She had done something to me, and I was just feeling like, and I was keeping it in, and everything. I tried to act like everything was normal on the outside. Everything was normal, and she had done nothing. I just had to finally share it and get it out there. And like I
Yeah.
said in the post, I was like, I won't respond on this anymore. I'm not even going to comment. But everybody kind of went at her, and then I started, and then, over time you start being like, who cares? Like, it's over with. I got it out there. I don't give. I hold no hard feelings.
Yeah.
Um, I'm fine. I don't. I like. I never want to be a person who makes somebody feel bad, no matter what.
No, I hear you.
No matter, like, yes, they did something to me. I spoke my piece. I got it out there. I did it in a way where I was like, look, guys, yes, something this happened to me. But I never want to attribute to bullying or to making somebody feel horrible. It's
Yeah. No, I hear
you
you. I
learn
hear
a
you.
lot all the time. I'm older, but I'm still learning. Um, we're all, I can't hang on to that stuff. I can't. Fuck
No,
it.
no, nor should you.
You know,
And I wasn't really trying to bring it up or anything like that. I was
no,
just
it's fine. It's totally fine.
on the topic of like it's kind of resets the table for
Yes.
everybody. Is that I was doing shows and I wasn't seeing all like the quote unquote bigger names coming out to do stuff,
Right. Right.
right? And then when they kind of started going, oh, maybe I can come and do a show, and
Yeah.
this guy comes up and he basically ate his dick. So, I haven't done this in 6 months. It's like, well,
Yeah.
we've been out here.
Right. And
We've
I
been,
noticed that too, Walter. One show, like when we were doing shows and when me and Nina were doing our show, I'm booking, right? Like, so I'm booking for
mhm,
these shows. I'm reaching out to people. I would reach out to these certain names of comics who you're like, okay, these people are a draw, they're bigger comics. I have to reach out to them. Um, None of them wanted to do anything. Like, everything's kind of crazy. I don't want to do anything. But all these other comics are just coming and be like, yeah, I'll take that spot. I'll take this spot. I'll take that spot.
yeah,
And yeah, and that's what you had to do. And that, but as even me as a booker, yes, I can, from my perspective, that's exactly what was happening. It took a while for those comics to finally come back out around. And they were still hesitant, I found, with anything like when I'm booking for even coming to do my shows.
which I think, I don't know. I got a weird feel. I felt, I'm okay. When you've done something for long enough,
Yeah.
like anytime someone asks me, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm working animation. And I say it like that, I'm working animation. And they're all like, oh, that's amazing. It's so cool. I'm like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's I feel it some days like Lucille Ball trying to eat all the chocolates before they get off the end of the fucking conveyor belt. You know what I mean? Because that's the way it works. It starts at one end and it goes, and the longer you're in something, the more it kind of just becomes normal and almost kind of like there's like a
Yeah.
general malaise that kind of comes over it.
Yeah.
It's not that there's anything wrong. That's not that I don't enjoy my work and I'm not happy to be doing it, but it's just like, yeah, it's not as fucking holy shit as you might think.
Right.
So
Right.
in that respect, I kind of wonder if those people they've been around for a long time and they've been like headliners, and if they kind of went, well, I'm not going to do that right now because there's just not big enough shows out,
Yeah. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
or if they're just like, oh, I've got some time off. I've been slogging away at this for so long. Now I have a reason to take a fucking step back and just breathe for a bit.
I think it's more of the former.
Yeah.
I think it's more of because the shows that they would usually do, because me and Nina just came with these shows during the pandemic, so it's not shows that any of these comics did before. So to them, like, well, they didn't have their usual spot, whether it was the Yucks or whether it was like a few other places that just never opened again.
Yeah.
Like because of those things weren't happening, they just didn't. I don't know. They didn't feel the need. Yeah, I think you're right on the first part a little bit, or maybe it's a mix of both. But I really feel like the first part,
Yeah.
and I feel like what happened is, to me, stand up is like a muscle. It's a muscle in your brain, and like any muscle, you can't get better at it or work it or make it stronger by doing it once, working it out once a month, say, or
Yeah.
working out once every 2 months.
Yeah.
So if that's all you're going to do, stand up, the only way to do it, you got to work it out as much as possible. Like as many spots, like the way I'm looking at it, I'm going to get as many of these spots now since these other comics aren't taking them. Like there's an opening here for shows, there's an opening for spots. That's how me and Nina looked at it. And we just made it. And if they didn't want to do it, fine. More to the people who did and who really wanted to work on their comedy and really wanted to get better. And I think that was the right time to do it. And we're probably going to have that again when things open again.
Yeah.
Those comics are still going to be hesitant again for a while. So
Good.
yeah, good. We're going to take the spots again. We're going to get the shows all back, and we're going to even make more then. Like, we'll fill the space ourselves, and eventually you have to come to us if you want stage time. Is
Yeah,
really
yeah,
what it's going to come down to.
yeah.
And yeah, fine. If you don't want to work it out or you don't want to get back, it's like a wit. Like you get your stage wit back quick. Like when the first pandemic, when the shows came back, I was slow on stage as far as like comebacks or saying things, to responding to people in the crowd or being on the cuff kind of thing. And it takes a while. I had to work back at it, man. Like it was a muscle, dude.
Yeah, you got to get comfortable again, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's like the biggest thing that I've this last year I was trying to work on is just getting as comfortable as I can be on stage, and then having material, but then being able to try to be able to just kind of fuck around with it a bit and not really care. That's
Yeah, seeing you from the first show I booked you until near the end of the last show, there's definitely a huge difference I saw in your stage presence from when you did Heritage there at the end.
was it just the beard?
No, dude, it was fantastic, man. The crowd fucking loved you too. It was a
It was
great show.
really I had like Sam, Sam Tonning, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, I love Sam. Yeah,
Sam Tonning, the very first time, because I did that Laughter Zone 101 that they do at a House of
is
Comedy.
that the Jan Bannister one? Give me one
Jan
second. Just
Bannister.
want to move the light. You can keep talking.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so like the only set that I had ever done properly was on that night, that because they do their showcase night. So I did the showcase night, and it's on YouTube, and it's awful. It makes me want to carve out my own eyeballs anytime someone says to me that, or that they found it. Oh, I found you on YouTube, and you did. I'm like, oh God, was it the? She's like, yeah, and I'm like, because I'm standing there like a fucking moron. I've got a cue card with my set list in my hand, and
Oh,
it's in my fucking mic hand, so it's
oh,
covering part of my fucking face, and it's like, son of a bit, and I never used it. I didn't refer to it once. It's like, why did you have that in your hand?
right, right, right. Why?
Stupid idiot, right? But that's like 4 years ago. And then the first time that I went out after that, I went to the Seven Dining Lounge, which I think was closed already by the time you got here, right?
Yeah, that was not open when I was here.
Yeah. And I walked in there. It was like close to Christmas, and I walked in there for the open mic, and Sam Tonning is because he was one of the guys. It was him and Ed Kanya that were running it at the time.
I've heard of that. Okay, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he looks up. He's at the back of the sitting there, and he looks up. And he looks at me, and he's like, "Comedian?" And I'm like, He's like, "You're a comedian. Come on in. Hi, I'm Sam. Blah blah blah. Really nice guy, right?"
Yeah.
And so he's seen me like a shitload of times do horrible, fucked up, terrible material, and he's seen me do mediocrely okay. He's seen me do whatever, right? So one of the maybe like the third or fourth to the last shows that I did before the shutdown again was at the Caveman in the basement, and Sam was there, and I did my 7 minutes or something, and I come off, and it's all stuff you've heard before, right? Because I was working that set for a while, and I come off, and he comes up, he's like, "That's the tightest and the best I've seen you ever work. It's great you're doing," and I'm almost like,
dude, isn't it the best feeling?
I like I
Like coming from someone like Sam too,
oh
right? Yeah.
totally right, like
Yeah.
because he's a staple in the Vancouver scene.
Someone you look up to too, as far as their stage time. Like when you see them on stage, you're like,
Oh,
wow.
totally,
And I
totally.
feel that with Sam. So when Sam says something like, if any comedian that you look up to said something, I've had it happen from a few, um, and it's just means so much more than some other person saying it. You know, it's just
Yeah, like if there's someone in the audience, like, oh my God, you're great. I'm like, yeah, okay, thank you.
thank you, but yeah, yeah.
Stop drooling on me now.
But
Go away.
Sam gets it. But Sam gets it, and he knows you've been working on it, and it's such a great feeling, man.
Well, and there's some comedians who are like, they wouldn't take the time to say something like that,
Absolutely, dude. How dare they?
right?
And yeah, absolutely, man. I
And
totally agree with you.
I'm trying. I was really enjoying just kind of the hang as well, just kind of because I was getting out to more shows and getting on more
Yeah.
shows, and even if I wasn't on the show, I was trying to go see some more shows and just kind of hang out with people. And I was kind of actually building a bit of a, and then they're like, well, no, you're not allowed to make people laugh anymore because laughter makes spit go into the air, and the spit collides together and it combines with the demon, and then the demon comes and it fucks your brain, and then it gives you COVID, and then you all die. It's like, oh, come on.
The hang is or like supporting at least other rooms, and
Mm,
which is what I was getting into as well. Even with all like the shows we did on our own, if I could, I would always be at other shows if it was an off night, or I do what I can to support the room, right? And that's what we need more of around, because we don't have that here. I
yeah,
don't find it. I
yeah,
as like as much as it's I've never tried to ever be a part of any drama or any bullshit or anything with any other comic or producers or anything. But just being a part of Laugh Wild and being a booker and putting on shows, you see so much,
yeah,
and you're just like, why are you like that? Or why is this person this way? Or like why, like it blows my mind. I'm like, if we all just actually supported each other, it
everything would
would
be
make a
better.
huge difference.
Yeah,
If we didn't treat all new comics a certain way, like the higher upper comics, like if they were all a little more Sam Tonning, we'd be all right. And that's
yeah.
really the way to. I got to put that on a Hallmark card and get.
That's a T-shirt. If we were all just a little more Sam Tonning
If we all had a little more Sam Tonning in us,
in us,
we,
I just want a little bit in me.
just
Apparently,
a
that's
tip
all he
of
has to
Sam.
offer anyway. But
I just want a tip of Sam. just
just I
you
just
got
want a
any?
tip, Sam. Just give me a tip.
Hey Sam, you got any tips?
I
Sorry,
gotta.
Sam. If you ever do watch this, I'm sorry,
I'm not sorry. I love you, Sam.
but
I want to get him on this. He was on. Have you seen? I I I feel like I'm the only person who comments on Peter Grant's podcast because I watch it. I'll put it on YouTube while I'm working, right? And I'm listening to it, and he's always like, he's constantly trying to do the "don't swear in the first 5 minutes" rule.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you swear in the first 5 minutes, you immediately get demonetized. And I'm sitting there in my head thinking, you're not fucking getting monetized anyway, sweetheart. Like, no, you
Well,
don't have enough followers yet. So what's the
I
point?
exactly. I did his podcast, and I was thinking the same thing, because we tried to do that too, and I was just like, "That's sure you could try it, but what's the point now? Like,
Yeah,
can't
what
just
is the point? There's no point. This is it's the same kind of thing as my wife telling me, "Oh, your podcast is too long." I don't care. I don't care. I'm not doing this to try and make a paycheck of any
right,
kind.
right, right,
If something like that were to happen in the future, awesome, great, wonderful.
and then you'll fix it and work around that.
I'm for once, like, comedy, weirdly, comedy, aside from marrying my wife and having a child, comedy is the only thing I think I've done in my life that I did because I wanted to do it, because I liked it, I loved it. I think that's it.
Amazing,
I think that's
amazing,
it.
dude.
Because there hasn't been any jobs that I did. I didn't get into animation because I loved it. I got into animation because my my wife made a mistake, and she asked me, if you could do anything you wanted to do, what would you do? And I said, oh, I'd probably, I don't know, maybe go into film. And then we've set about, I went to my doctor, and he's like, you probably shouldn't be working where you're working because there's lots of dust and things. You have allergies and asthma, and you should probably quit that job. And he wrote a thing. And so I brought that to EI, and they said, oh, okay, well, you should quit that job. And I quit that job, and they sent me back to school.
Oh, really? Okay.
But they wouldn't send me to school for film, because at the time that I was applying, there were too many people in the film industry because everyone was on hiatus.
Okay.
they were all on EI. So they said, nope, sorry, can't do
Right,
that.
right, right.
So I had to holy shit, and in a day, completely reapply for. And I figured animation, okay, it's got a lot of same. You're gonna do camera things, you're gonna do all this stuff, and I could draw. I was always, kind of an artistic guy who could draw. So I thought, well, that might be a good fit. And so then I ended up doing that. And then it's like you spend a year drawing on paper, flipping pages, right? Like this is animation. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then you get out of school and they hand you a mouse. How the fuck am I supposed to flip this? What am I doing with this hand? Oh, this is for hotkeys. I'm like, fuck. What?
Really,
And
eh?
there's no paper anymore. None.
So that's so weird. You think the course would be upgraded to it? Jesus.
Yeah, I don't really understand it. They had a really small, it was classical animation. And you're
Well,
drawing
that's probably
everything.
why.
And then,
Classical.
well, they only had classical and then they had 3D at the time.
Really,
And in classical animation, they had a very small segment where you did like a week and a half of Flash.
eh? Okay.
Now I think they've changed a lot. They've got
Yeah.
like all the various, things in there now.
Actually get them prepared for the job.
Yeah. But then even then it's like there's kids in high school. You can get a all these different student editions that are free that you can do all the animation stuff. It just puts like a little watermark on the thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, I got
So
you.
there's kids coming out of high school who know how to use
Yeah,
3ds Max and
it's
Maya,
true.
and like they know how to from a technical standpoint, they know how to use it. From an
Right.
animation standpoint, ugh, like
yeah,
none of their characters have any weight at all. Like
yeah.
they slide everywhere. It's like, oh, come on, dude. Like that's when they need to sit down with a piece of paper, a few pieces of paper, and fucking draw a bouncy ball and a sack of flour doing a backflip. Like those two little bullshit exercises.
Yeah.
I've actually taught them. I taught them, well, my daughter, at her school. I went to her school and I taught them just the basics of animation. And it's like,
Amazing.
bouncy ball, stretch, squash, comes back up, goes back to
Right, right.
stretch, squash, and then
So like
timing.
that's like a whole good exercise
Yeah,
that would help with that.
yeah, yeah.
Amazing, dude.
No.
That's so cool. So like, do you do that from home now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, when the first lockdown started in March, I was just ending a contract at one studio,
Oh, okay.
and I had got signed on to another contract at another studio, and I was sitting there going, I wonder, because they were already like cutting people out of the studio, going, no, you can't come in. No, we're going to be
yeah.
doing this. And I was like, oh, I wonder if this is going to get pushed back or something, right? And then
Right.
my producer called and he said, can you confirm your address and everything? I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. He's like, okay, we're going to send you a tower and a Cintiq, and they sent everything. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And
Nice.
so,
Nice.
yeah, been working at home for almost a year now, which
Oh
is,
shit. Eh?
it gets a little weird. I do
Yeah.
find that I have to leave the house from time to time. I have to just kind of go somewhere.
Of course, man. It's you got to get out, man. Like
Yeah.
it's a good thing that we're not in complete lockdown type like Ontario type of thing.
Mm,
So we can go to places. You can go to a restaurant at least, and you can go to a bar and at least watch McGregor.
yeah. Well, that's it. Like they shut that bar down at 10 o'clock last night.
Really, eh?
Like they closed at 10. She came walking up and it was like quarter to 10. She's like, it's last call. And we're like, what? Already?
I guess because they can't even serve after 10, right?
Uh, yeah. But,
So yeah,
but I mean, it was,
I don't even go. Like I haven't been to a bar or cared like did that in so long. But now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah. So they must have to close early. There's no more like 2 a.m. stuff, of course, and
yeah.
type of stuff like that.
But I mean, outside of that and having to, walk in with a mask and have a mask on to go to the bathroom, everything else was almost completely normal. Like we were
Really, eh?
just sitting at the table. There's guys over at this table. There's guys over at that table.
Right, right.
There's more space between tables, but
But
more or
yeah,
less it was like kind of normal, and it felt normal. It was like it was a fucking great night to just to get out and
good man. Yeah, you need that, man. I think I quit drinking at the wrong time. It's, there's so much I miss already in 2 weeks. Like
but you don't feel like you're like addicted or anything, right?
I
You
do.
just do
No, I
you?
do. I do. Yeah, I do feel that. Like I feel like I'm actually detoxing right now. Like in
Well,
the
you possibly could be, yeah.
yeah. And I do like I. There was one time last week where I actually walked into a liquor store, and I stared into the cooler at the beer, and I just stared for like a minute. It felt like forever, uh, and then I just walked away because my buddy said something. Keller Reeves,
Mm.
uh, he called me up a few days after I quit drinking, and he said, "Okay, let's make a deal. Then don't have another drink until we meet up and we can have a beer together." And I was like, "Okay, okay, cool. I'll make that deal." And that thought came into my head while I was so I just walked out, and then I stood outside the liquor store for a while. I just hung out, sat on a bench, listened to music, and just contemplated, man, and then walked home. And it was just. Yeah, I do feel it, man, and like I drink every day. Like I had to drink every day, pretty much. It felt like, yeah.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
yeah, and even and I'm noticing things like even my buddy, I won't name him, another comic, he messaged me the other day. We used to go out, and last time, like, we hang out, we get sloshed at a bar, and we just vent to each other. Like, he vents to me, we vent, and we have guy time. And he messaged me the other night. He's like, "What are you doing? Let's go hang out." And I'm like, "Oh, he needs to vent." And I just had to send a message right away. Like, I quit drinking, and he's like, "Well, what the fuck?" But I felt guilty, man, because he was making me feel a bit guilty. He's like, "Well, what are we gonna do?" Or like I was, because I was like, "But I still want to hang out with you and stuff at times." Like, I'm just pointing out. I just want to get it out of the way that I'm attempting to stop drinking before we dive into anything about plans or to go. He's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll go to the library and hang out." And I'm like, he started making me feel pretty guilty about it. And I started like, I know he wasn't probably meaning to, or he's just being a comic, being
Yeah.
funny through text. But by the end of it, it was like, all right. He's like, I guess we have nothing to hang out for anymore. We didn't say it,
But that's kind of what you
but it's
felt.
kind of, yeah, and it's kind of like, well, I guess I lost a venting buddy, and you start thinking, fuck, dude, like shit's real.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm still coming to the realization. I'm like, damn it, I got to figure out a way to hang out with this guy, and because he's a good bud, but I guess that's it. That
It's
was what we did.
it's funny the things that you like, the things that keep people together and hanging out. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not necessarily something good. It's not necessarily something
no,
that can be consistent. You know what I mean? Like, most of my friends over the last, decade and a half have all been work friends
yeah,
because I didn't have any time to,
yeah, yeah,
and I didn't really have a lot of friends growing up in high school and whatever. And I had like a couple of buddies, but I mean, they all have then they get families and they all move away or
dude, it
whatever.
happens. That's what happens to everybody, right?
Yeah.
I weird. Like I come from a unique situation in Toronto where me and my fucking high school, even before high school buddies, like my fucking buddies I grew up with, we stayed buddies. They did get married, they did have kids, but we still kept the group tight. Like we hung out all the time still. We always partied still, even though like we still managed to do that. So it was a unique situation. So, but I know that that doesn't happen
Yeah.
usually. Once high school ends, you see people fall, like, you separate, you go your separate ways. But like even the girls that we hung out with, they married into the guys in the group. So we all still stayed tight. It wasn't like, oh, the wife's here, we got to go. Like the wife was a part of the group too.
Right.
Uh, so I always had that, but when I moved out here, yeah, I lost all that, and all my buddies now are just comic friends. Like I swear, my Facebook is just comedians now, and a few my buddies in Toronto. But I mean, like that's my only buddies out here. Like I have to learn to hang out with these fucking comedians.
Yeah.
Not the easiest thing all the time, but like those are the
No.
people where it's like you realize your relationship was staying together because you were drinking together and venting. even though the drinking I didn't think was a big part of why we hung out. It was the venting. I loved talking and venting with this guy, and that's how we had our guy time here. We connected. But now I look at it and I'm like, shit. If I'm not drinking, look what just happened. We didn't hang out that night. Like
Yeah.
he messaged somebody else. You know.
Yeah, it's a weird. Yeah. That's the thing. Alcohol is just like it's a lubricant.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a depressant too, as well, big time. But it's also, it's just, it's very much the reason that some people can even just go out
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
talk to other people sometimes. You know, like, which is really, it's kind of sad in a way,
Yeah.
because it's like,
Of course. Man.
I mean, I think that that's good. It's good for you that you're like you have enough presence of mind and enough self-awareness to go, actually, you know what, this is, I don't actually need that, and it's not necessarily good for me in these
Yeah.
doses.
Yeah.
It's certainly not good for you when you're alone. Like, I don't drink
Right,
a
right, and that's all I did. Like honestly, man, for the last 2 years, I've been a very high functioning alcoholic, as in work every day, come home, get to that show, leave that show, get drunk at home, wake up, go to work early on the transit, still no hang. Like I was functioning, nobody had a clue, man. Like
no.
nobody knew that this was my life. Like I couldn't go anywhere, go to a comedy show without making sure I had beer in the fridge at home when I got home. That was what was keeping me sane the
That was
whole
like the
time.
wind down.
Just going home and winding down. You roll
Yeah.
up that joint. Before I knew it, I had 5 tall boys in me, and I was like, "All right, time to eat and pass out. Time to order something horrible and
Yeah.
pass
Yeah.
out." And that's what, dude. So moving, when I say I'm moving, and I have a gym in this building, and I've now since 2 weeks now I've been going to that gym every day, man,
Nice.
and just doing cardio right now, right? Like, because I did this weight loss thing before, and I changed my life before, and I did it 6 years ago, and then I gained it all back, got depressed, did all this, had to move out here, change my life again, and now it's time to do the physical change because I was still drinking. Like I now I had to move out of that space. I'm in a positive spot now with my best bud from Ontario. Was our plan from years ago, and now it's finally into fruition. And we're think I have we moved into a place with a gym, so that works out perfect. I'm eating better. I'm not ordering. I haven't even ordered anything since I've been here, and I was ordering skip the dishes daily and drinking daily by myself for
Oh,
2 years, and then especially during the pandemic. But yeah, I was anyway, and now eating better. Not just the non-drinking for the last 2 weeks, and using cardio, the elliptical at the gym downstairs here every day for about 35-40 minutes. I swear to God, I must be losing weight. Like, and just that alone, no beer, and working out, like that alone, I feel so much better. Like, so, and now it's like I think about drinking a lot, but then I go, but I'd ruin everything I just did for 2 weeks almost.
right.
You
Right.
know, so that is a good deterrent. And every day that deterrent gets bigger and harder because now it's longer, and I don't want to ruin that time. So that's how I'm going at it every just day by day now, man. I have a whiteboard here. I'll try to show you. It's on the wall. I don't know.
Oh
But
yeah.
one of the things on there, the bottom says abstain from drinking, and it's a daily thing. And I check that box. I'll check it again when we're done. I have your podcast at 8 p.m. Gym, store, defeat Goro Mojima in Yakuza 7. That's been driving me insane, this motherfucker, dude. And then podcast 8 p.m. with Walter and abstain from drinking. And I keep that abstain from drinking. I just erase the check mark. I do it every day, man.
That's good. Well, that's the thing, right? Consistency is always the thing. I'm struggling with consistency in terms of working out because it's
Yeah.
I can't, I've tried to do the get up early in the morning. I have an elliptical in my house. I have a Bowflex. I have kettlebells. I have like, you got
And
fuck all for excuses, son. Like,
so it's not the access problem.
oh
Like
no,
you have
not at
access.
all.
Yeah.
So I've managed it a couple of times where I get up at 5 a.m. and you go downstairs and you get on the elliptical and I put on a show, you know, you put on John Wick or something fucking
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
get you going. And it's like, yeah, like you said, like 30-35 minutes.
Yeah.
Just get through this, right?
Just
Just
get through it.
just go. And I found out something very, very important. One, I don't like doing that. and and two, if you're going to do cardio early in the morning, make sure you brush your teeth first, because when you get 15 minutes into it and you're breathing heavy and you're tasting and smelling your own breath as it is heaving in and out of your hideously disgusting mouth and chest, it's just like, oh, bleh, it's awful. It's
Yeah,
totally awful. I'm more of a kind of I am gonna try again to just like regiment my day a little bit. Get up at 5, have a
yeah,
shower, brush your teeth, have a coffee, get ready, might get my work things ready, kind of do a little bit of work for 45 minutes or whatever, then go downstairs.
yeah, yeah. There you go, man. That's the good thing about it's here in the building and it's public to other people. So for me, I'm not just going down there and still being private. Like, so I have to be prepared. Like, as in, I make sure like I'm up here, I shower, I eat breakfast before I go down. Like those things are all done. When I go down there, I'm ready for that 30-minute elliptical, and then I'll do something light on one of the machines. Right now, the free weight section is kind of blocked off in the yoga section, but we have all machines for everything. I don't know why. It's so
Yeah,
stupid.
that seems strange.
It is strange and it's so dumb.
You're breathing heavier on the fucking treadmill than you are on.
It's so dumb. So yeah, then I'll do something light and I'll leave. But yeah, it's a good routine. I'm gonna do it like at least do this for a bit. I have to lose a lot of weight before I can jump into actually lifting weights again and doing weight training. And this is more about just cardio and drop those pounds, like sweat and drop those pounds, man.
I got a couple of I have one friend in specific, Kim. She is the smallest little Vietnamese girl. Like, she is tiny. Like, I've picked her up with one hand and put her on my shoulder. Like, that's how small she is. And she got into rock climbing a couple of years ago, and now she has built in her room, and she does like full Instagram stories about this shit. Like, she gets up fucking 5, 6, whatever it is in the morning, and she runs 5K in the rain, in the cold, in the whatever. And then she gets home, and then like later in the day, she's got like she made like a well, she has like the chin up bar for doing
Yeah.
chin ups and shit. And then she made one of those boards that you put rock climbing hand grips on. And
Oh shit. No
she's
shit.
fucking doing that shit too. And on the one hand, I'm thinking, that's really impressive. That's amazing. I'm very proud of you, Kim. That's great. And on the other hand, I'm going, you weigh fucking nothing. You weigh nothing.
And
Try weighing what I fucking weigh and do
then do
chin-ups.
a pull up and climb a wall.
Like,
Climb a
I
rock. Climb a rock with me on your back and see how it goes, right?
what do you okay, I'm gonna ask you. I'll tell you what I'm weighing first, and then if you are comfortable, you can tell me. I the last time I stepped on the scale was probably 2 weeks ago, and I it was 216.
I'm well. I haven't weighed myself, but the last time I did, I was 400, and I was smaller than I am now.
What?
Believe it or not, yeah,
Wow. No, I wouldn't have guessed that
yeah.
at all.
I because I carry myself differently. And when you think of someone that size, you think they're like, I keep myself clean. Like, I'm very active. I still keep myself clean and presentable. So
Hmm.
it gives off a different look than most people my size. When you see people my size, you see them on TLC and they're kind of gross and they're doing gross things.
Yeah, they've got wings.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, and they're not taking care of themselves in other ways, like hygienically and things like
Yeah.
that.
They've
And
got
I
half
do
a
that and I stay
pizza.
active and I stay out. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've always
Yeah,
I can't watch those fucking shows. I have
me
friends who
either.
watch those,
Me
my
either.
600 pound life and all that shit, and it's like I can't
I
because the
don't
whole
watch.
time I just sit there and I'm like, why
I
sorry,
can't
that's
watch. I can't watch anything reality that they call reality.
I
Whether you
know
I
it's
can't watch anything. Even the worst things I watch is like I stay up on like news, maybe like political news and things like that. But even that work, like I don't even want to be a part of the scummy society that likes TLC and those shows
yeah.
and the Bachelor crowd. Like that part of society, I'm like, you guys are fucked. Like I really think they are, and
Or
I like I try to just create my own positive light and just try to ignore all that stuff.
Not my friend, and she's a sweetheart, and I love her. But my friend Kira was like, "Oh, have you seen it? She's Irish, right? She's from Ireland." She's like, "Hi, what? Have you seen the 90-Day Fiance?"
Yeah, yeah. Even
And I'm
that.
like, "The
I'm like,
what?
oh.
Hi, a 90-Day Fiance, 90 days, and then they get married." I'm like, "Why the fuck would you do that? Are you out of your mind? What
And
are you
it's
like?
all online couples or something.
Oh,
None of them love each other. They're all
it's
horrible.
it's
See, it's
awful."
just garbage humans. And I don't want to entertain myself by watching garbage humans do garbage things.
Yeah. Now,
And unfortunately, most people are idiots. And most people live like, most people are dumb. Most people are idiots. Most people I wouldn't associate with or want to be a part of anyway. So, yeah. What entertains the masses? It's like asses for the masses. Like that's just it.
it's
You
just
have to,
gross. It's
yeah,
just gross.
it is. Man. It doesn't make me feel good about the world and the people
Uh,
around me.
it's a symptom of the decadence that we have become accustomed to. That is
Yeah,
basically it.
yeah, yeah.
But now that being said, and I doubt my sister will ever watch this, but my sister got married within 90 days.
Of meeting someone.
Yeah, and they've been together for quite some time now. They have 3 children, and
I'm
they're.
not saying that that stuff
But
can't move. It's not that. It's just the way TLC portrays these
no,
women,
no, I hear you.
and the majority of them are
They're
just
garbage. They're there for the
garbage
show.
people. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they don't actually care. That's why I never liked those bachelor shows or anything like that either. It's
Well,
like,
even that as a society, like to think of that, it's like I don't understand the double standard type of thing as far as like why would a woman be okay or why would a woman want this dude who is kissing and trying to be with all these other women at the same time and you're falling in love within 30 days with this person
yeah,
supposedly. I
in
just feel like
love.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, but they people watch it. There's never anybody, and they watch it going, "This is beautiful," and I'm like, "Wow, like you
Yeah.
people are fucked up." Like I just, I don't understand it.
And the funny thing is, it's all ripped off from British television.
Everything, most everything is, isn't it?
And the British shows are worse.
I like the British Nanny show. You remember that, or is that still on?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't watch TV anymore, but is still on?
I don't know if it's still on, but I know what you're
But
saying because
I
like
love when someone from the outside just comes and tells the parents they're pieces of shit. And like
yeah,
it's like it's always the parents' fault, right? It's always their fault. So I love that a nanny will come and rip them and then just yeah, here you I know as soon as that nanny walks out, the kids are back to whatever.
I always wanted to
Parents don't know,
see.
right?
Yeah, exactly. I always wanted to see her fucking degrees. It's like, I'm sorry, do you have a degree in child psychology? Do you have a degree in anything?
Some people just have the right to smack the kids around to speak smart again. I don't know. I just think
S-
most kids should be smacked around probably.
well, a
I think
lot. I think. Well, I mean, I was a bouncer.
I don't actually think that. But what I do think is actually what I've learned. See, like it's weird, man. Like I'm in a process of growth as well in mentally, like hugely right now. Bigly. Rest in peace to Mr. Orange Man. Um, I as in like how I feel about the generations and like schooling is what kids should be is nurtured more in like oh if they're showing an interest in something um instead of being like why aren't you like these other kids they'll medicate them and be like why isn't your attention span like why I'm starting to learn and try to read up and look into things like instead of medicating kids because their attention's off a little bit maybe find out what the kid is into and teach the kid that or like nurture it, not teach them, but nurture what the kid is into. Why are they learning nonsense in class, like things in school? I, that's a
Why?
whole other thing.
Why is it? Oh, why are they sitting in rows? Why are they? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like the whole school system was based on teaching children to work in a factory. That's
that's
it.
what I mean. Like, and how many of these kids who had created, who could be creative geniuses, have had
Mhm.
their light dimmed because they weren't nurtured, and instead of nurturing that, what they shown, they give them medication and, oh, my kid can't pay attention, or my kid is hyperactive. Your kid isn't hyperactive. Your kid's a kid.
Your kid's bored.
And
Your kid
you're
doesn't have
right.
enough activity.
It's like a dog that you keep in an apartment. Like the
Yeah.
dog needs to run around. The dog needs area. And so I can't blame, like, I'm more about blaming the system now and like raging against the machine, bro. Um, it's just something that and I'm just learning this. I'm just learning these things, and I'm starting to learn about how what you've been taught so long and what's been ingrained into you through the schooling system and things like that is just ridiculous. But to unlearn those things and learn a new way, it's not easy. Like, you have to untrain the brain, and you have to
Yeah.
things like that. So I don't know, man. Maybe the pandemic is getting to me, and I have a bit more time to look into things. I don't know.
I think it's
I'm
doing
hanging
that to
around.
everybody.
I'm hanging around more positive people, like my roommate, and like he teaches me a lot. He does, like, he's such a health freak. Teaching me how, like, even in life, like, just your mind is a powerful thing. What you surround yourself with, what you put into your body. So I've been eating like just pure health food with him. I'm starting to feel a real difference in my body, and so it's real, right? Like, so I feel like you are what you eat, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you saw Keller. Keller dropped like fuck 100 and whatever
Amazing,
pounds.
dude. Yeah, Keller's, and he's such a good dude. I love talking to him.
I can get my arms around him almost like it's like, come here,
He
bitch.
gave me he gave me some of his old shirts and stuff because I told him I'm losing weight too. He's like, "Here, man, you'll fit into these eventually," and it's easy. He can't fit in them, and they're really nice dress shirts, things like that. I'm like, "You're fucking right. I'll take them." It's not easy to shop for a big guy.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Mm.
Um, yeah, no, that's fucking crazy. Are you doing intermittent fasting at all, or are you doing
No, I'm just
just clean diet?
clean diet, clean food, keeping it pescatarian as
Okay.
well. I haven't eaten meat in a long time anyway, or chicken. I eat sushi is kind of the fish I like to eat. But even my eggs are just I don't eat eggs now. Even I switched to learning, because with my roommate, he's taught me ways to marinate even tofu to be like eggs, and things to be like this and to be like that. It's all about marinating it and your spices. And I'm like, oh shit, this really does take. So he's teaching me all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I could totally eat that instead of this. That I could totally get it. So learning that stuff, just eating a clean diet that way. Yeah.
Gotta do a reset. Gotta do a reset. Get everything.
Yeah, like I don't drink milk, any dairy anymore. I don't drink pop. I'm trying to stay away from pop, cheese, even things like that. Just all those things alone: dairy, pop, cheese, beer, and fast food. That's all we
Yeah.
cut that's gone, man.
I had a bad run this last week. I think we ate fast food like three times. I think we did Wendy's, and then we did. Yeah, it was yeah. No, it wasn't.
It's
It
not easy.
wasn't good. Wasn't good.
Yeah, man. Hey,
But
man.
I got to remember things. Like I got to remember to prep food, because otherwise it's like
That's right. Yeah.
the evening comes and you're like, ah, fuck.
I don't
What
want
was
to
I
cook
making
up
for
now.
dinner?
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta quickly do something. And I mean, I don't eat that much. Like the wife eats. She's like, some cottage cheese with some fruit in it for like lunch.
Right, right.
And it's not that big a deal. And I'm like, I eat maybe twice a day. So it's like 3 eggs, a little bit of cheese, some ham, and then throw a wrap on that, and then flop it out into a plate and roll it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Just stuff that in my face, and then not eat again for. Um, but yeah, no, it's the problem with eating is that your mouth is such a fucking. Your mouth is like, but I want that.
All the time, dude. All the
It's
time.
not even. It's not even your stomach. Like you
No,
can you can
you
not
just
even be
want to
hungry.
taste. You want to taste it.
Yeah, and your mouth is just like, don't you think that would be wonderful?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you pass that? You should pass that through me right now, shouldn't you? You should put that shit in me now. And it's like, no, no. And then you overcompensate the other way, and then you fuck yourself up and you go, nah. And yeah.
Yeah.
Food is the big, which is hilarious because I mean, for the majority of human history, people have been struggling not to starve.
It's right. And so food is something, I have a very addictive personality, and I'm definitely addicted to food. Definitely, there's an addiction there with that. Like you said, just in your mouth, like you just want to taste it. It's not like your body even needs it. Your stomach isn't asking for it. You just, yeah. So, and something you just, another addiction, man, to break, you know?
Yeah. So weird. And it's funny too, though. I do find that if I go off like on a bender and I eat some shitty food, the propensity for me wanting that shitty food goes up.
Right, right.
But if I manage to get through, like if I have a busy weekend, like if the wife and I are going to go for a hike, we're going to go for this, we're going to go do this stuff, do that stuff, whatever, right? If I'm busy, it's much easier for me to go, I'm going to eat this thing now, this relatively
Yeah,
clean thing, some eggs,
yeah.
fine, boom, just chuck it in my face. And then I'm not going to eat. That's the only thing I'll eat in the entire day. And I feel fine. And then the next day, I'm not really hungry because my body has kind of shifted and it's starting to
Right.
like burn my fat, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then that moment that you go, oh, a piece of cake, yeah, because it was a birthday. Oh yeah, sure, a piece of cake, and then that triggers something, and then it's like, oh, don't you want a cheeseburger now? Oh, we had the cheeseburger, but you want the fries now. Don't you want the fries? How about the pizza? There's a pizza over there. There's some pizza. It's really good pizza. You should have the pizza and definitely eat that before midnight because you were probably a gremlin. You got to change in the middle of the night.
If you
Like
don't.
it's so
Yeah,
stupid. Like it's
yeah.
so weird.
It is weird, man. The body is something else, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all a struggle, man, and it's but I'm happy to keep fighting, and I'm happy to keep having something to work on daily and improve myself daily. I feel better every day that I do that. I feel better every morning I wake up not having drinks the night before. So just that feeling alone, yeah, that gets me through, man. But dude, it's only been two been 17 days, I guess. 17.
Still, as every day is a
Yeah,
like they say if you can do something for 5 days, you can do it for 20. If you
yeah,
can do it for 20, you can do it for 2 months. If you can do it for 2 months, you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
that kind
Yeah.
of mentality, it's that kind of consistent thinking and consistent.
I feel like when things open up again, you're definitely going to see a new JR as a dude who as he bursts back onto the scene.
Well, I can't wait for that. I can't wait to see you again. I can't wait
You
like
too,
in
buddy.
person. I can't wait to see Nina again. I can't wait to see Jessica,
So
Joe,
many people,
Joe.
man.
I might have to make her feel uncomfortable and give her a hug. It's just I'm just gonna be like I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna be like JJP, JJP, JJP. I'm walking towards you now. You're gonna
she's
have to
she's
come on, come on. It's
she's
okay. It'll be all right.
she's
It'll
such a
be all right.
treat.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
I must make her feel so awkward.
She's such a sweetheart, though. It's
She
hilarious.
is. She is, and I've learned a lot from her just being around her myself and like as a person and growing. Learning even like I learned a lot of how to treat people even sometimes online like she with her whole bullying stance and how she put it out there about how to treat people and what how some people have been being treated
Hmm.
like you we got to think about them and we have to think about how it's been making them feel because there's a few like that whole post you know the post I'm talking about
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
that she
big,
put up.
big, long one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's so important. And she called a lot of people out without calling them out, and none of them said a thing. None of them had something to say. A lot of people who have been really bullying certain people in this industry. And even I've had scenes of where I would have a second thought about booking certain people because of that. But it's all because of word of mouth from somebody else. So
Right.
I've made those mistakes and she taught me and she really made me reflect on myself and internally look at like how I treat people and talk to people and I have to fuck with all these other comedians like I'm a new comedian and I'm new to the city. A lot of how I look at people and how I view people I might have heard third hand. I didn't grow up with these people. None of the bad experiences and things people have told me have been anything I've had experience with them
Right.
because I'm new. So I'm taking everything as their word. And I realized, you know what? I need to stop doing that shit. and just everybody gets a clean plate like palette with me. You come, if you treat me well, you treat me with respect, I'll treat you with the same respect that I give to this next comic that everybody loves. And I think a lot of it, sometimes we dogpile onto people and we treat people a certain way online,
Yeah.
and we don't realize sometimes we're doing it, but we are adding to that flame.
Well, you have that, like, that's the thing with the internet. It's like right now we're here, but
Yeah,
we're not really here, right?
no,
Like this is an Isaac Asimov kind of
mhm.
universe where we're like we're separate but we're together, and that it's that. I think the next generation, like my daughter's generation, possibly might be the generation that kind of figures out the bullshit of this kind of medium.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
We're the guinea pigs, man. Of like, we kind of feel too empowered. We don't know what to do with it.
yeah.
We're not handling the responsibility part of having this much power.
Well, and it's funny because there's a lack of accountability
Yeah,
in this type of medium, and there's a lack of consequence,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And then
That's 100%.
you combine that with the propensity of like the last generation, maybe like, oh, it could even technically be my daughter's generation or slightly before that. I mean, people were moving away from, the whole idea that, punishment, proper discipline of children, right? It was all helicopter parenting and kind of
That's right.
coddling.
Yeah, coddling and
And then
clearing the path for them.
you combine that with this internet era of, there's no real consequence except for the person who's being, you
Except
know,
for the victim,
yeah.
um,
Um,
whatever it is. But it really shows people like, and some people just use that as like. There's going to be those garbage people that will constantly use it for that. But you're right. It's going to take the next generation to kind of get a hold of it. I think
yeah.
because
And I
it's
think,
it's rampant and out of control, and we don't know. Like, there's just too many garbage people with too much access to too much things
yeah,
that can get to you.
I like, and I'm glad my wife isn't in the room because I'm about to quote, well, paraphrase Joe Rogan. Because if she was
You
here,
hate
she'd be
Joe
like,
Rogan?
"Oh, did you learn that off Joe Rogan? Did you learn that from Joe Rogan?" Like, fucking shut up, woman. Just leave me alone. But I mean, he's always had a very good point. He's been saying it for years. It's like the only way to make the world better is to stop making shitty people.
Yeah,
Make better people.
yeah,
And the way you do that was with education and communication.
that's
And
right. The way we exactly that goes back to like how you treat your children and how you raise them. That's
yeah,
what that is. Stop creating pieces of shit.
yeah. Stop creating entitled little
Yeah,
fucks. Like you do at some point have to say no and actually mean it to
right,
your kid,
right,
like
right.
that's
There
the
has to
thing.
be consequences for things.
Yeah, big time.
I think you're right. Joe's right. Good for Joe.
Good
I
for
hope your wife likes
Joe. Good. I can use that. I can clip that out and I can use that as a Joe Rogan schools us. And people will click on it because it was Joe Rogan.
This
And
is,
it'll
yeah,
drive
yeah,
some
exactly.
traffic. We'll drive some traffic.
Get some traffic, man. Yeah, buddy.
Anyway, we've been going an hour and a half.
Yeah, but
Um, and it's been fantastic. I would keep going forever if with you.
no,
I'm
I totally get it, and plus, it just makes sense also for your videos if you want people to watch. Yeah, it will have to. People's attention spans these days are not what they used to be.
Yeah, they can be a little bit on the
Yeah,
fucky side. I think I am gonna start doing like I'm gonna be like having some bullet point type things and just
yeah, yeah. Like,
it's like, did you see the new Wonder Woman movie? Like that kind of stuff, right? Like,
yeah, 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 but
and
figuring it out, dude.
I am gonna have to get my kid to do this with me at least once in the next little while. Because the name of the YouTube page is Bad Dad and the Sad Girl, right?
Oh,
Because this was the
I,
podcast
I
that
would love to see that.
I was going to start with my kid, and that was the podcast that we never really kind of got off the ground. And then, but I had already made the YouTube page, and I like the name,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I'm like, oh fuck it,
Yeah, so definitely use the yeah, now you gotta. But yeah, definitely use that name. That's very cool. Very cool.
yeah.
And I'd watch that.
I quite thought it was fun. So I'll get her on, and I can do this with her too, because she's at UBC, so I mean she can just do this. She can sign
Cool.
in and yeah. Okay, well, hey man, Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
man.
Thank you for hosting so many shows with Nina. I mean, you guys have been. I mean, you're a big fucking part of my year last year. That's for goddamn sure. Like, and I can't wait to get back out there with you guys and see you guys again.
Well, dude, same here, and our pleasure, Walter. Fuck, man. Me and Nina, I'll speak for Nina too. Nina loves the shit out of you too.
She's
And
such a sweetheart.
yeah, man. So I love having great people on my show. So you'll always be there.
Cool, man. I try to be great. It doesn't always happen, but you know.
You're always great to me. You're great to me.
Okay, buddy.
All
Well,
right,
man,
Walter.
I hope I see you sooner than later.
Fuck yes, buddy. Thank you, dude.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
brother. I'll see
Bye.
you later.